First of all, Ukraine. I had the opportunity to recall it at the end of the G7, but for the first time since the new US administration, we have reconverged between Americans and Europeans on the position with regard to Ukraine, and therefore support for it, military support, support to finance its energy infrastructures, and support also to coordinate sanctions with regard to Russia and put pressure. We also have a stronger position on the European side, since it is the first time since December 2024 that we obviously, after the beginning of the transfers of the nearly 90 billion euros that had been decided in December, the dynamic is therefore better, and so we have confirmed here exactly this dynamic that I have just described, initiated in Evian. And so we had a debate on the support of defense capacities, in particular anti-aircraft, the rapprochement of our capacities and our productions. We have also stressed that the loan granted by the Europeans will precisely, and I would also like to salute in this regard the agreement reached at the G7 to finance the security work of the confinement arch of the Chernobyl plant, which had been damaged by a Russian shot in February 2025. Our support also goes hand in hand with the increase in sanctions, and their too position at 27. In this regard, we are also tightening the rates on the Ghost fleet, which remains the main vector of Russian oil exports, and we are increasing the pressure on the Russian banking system and alternative financial mechanisms, i.e. cryptocurrencies used to bypass sanctions. And so, as agreed there too at the G7, we will strengthen our sanctions on the oil and gas sector for a rapid adoption of the 21st package of sanctions. And then the Europeans remain ready to contribute to robust security guarantees, in particular via 13 for a summit of the Coalition of Volunteers, all the countries that are members of it, and then to participate in the July 14th parade, alongside the Ukrainian armies. Finally, the progress made in the Ukraine's adhesion process and that of Moldova this week are historic. And I want to remind them here, they were saluted during this council, the opening of the fundamental chapters block, which marks the official start of the adhesion negotiations. And I salute the commitment of Hungary and Ukraine on the subject of national minorities, which also allows to straighten up the process of Ukraine's adhesion to the European Union, while remaining based on respect for one's own merits. Progress on this dialogue on global imbalances will be pursued. It allowed, within the framework of the G7, to advance by defining this consensus in G7 tour, and then also a few days before the G7, with the summit that we held, called the Summit of Convergences, with India and China, associating for the first time in 20 years that China has such work, and starting to prepare this work on. Second element, very simple, very clear, that we have always defended. The day there will be negotiations, the Europeans will have to be around the table because it involves the interests of Europe, which are partly linked to what is at stake in Ukraine by the help that we have provided, by the question of the enlargement that concerns the Europeans, by also the financial support. And so the European Union should be represented. And President Costa, as long as these skills are defined, there will be a place. However, member states will also have their place, and we cannot represent them when it comes to security guarantees, which will be a key element of any negotiation. Point 2. We must be around the table of a negotiation when it is held, and the representatives of the institutions and the member states, which are key to future security guarantees. What has happened in recent weeks is that the Europeans, in a negotiation that had been initiated by the Americans, and we must be part of it. It is also for this reason that President Zelensky had asked for the Things have changed in recent days, since the Americans, for the first time since President Trump's election, have said, "We stand with you, we support Ukraine, we will support even more, and we will sanction Russia." And so the question today is not to know who, when, how must go negotiate with Russia. It is to say that we have all clarified our position, and so it is up to Russia, to which many offers have been made in recent months, to say when it will be ready to negotiate. I am a great supporter of innovation in my country. I will be... Let me have this reserve. And so there is the question of these famous centers of return in third countries. France does not support. We are for a more effective, but first of all, I have never seen a return center in a third country work. In recent years, I have heard a lot of people doing it or signing agreements. And it means that people who do not want to return to their country of origin, or who cannot return to their country of origin, you will find a third country in which you will push them. And this country will accept, perhaps against money. So which country? What relationship do you create? What human rights? And that you will push all these people into a country that is not theirs, even though you do not keep them. I am not sure that this is the fundamental principles on which our Europe was built. And I do not believe, moreover, that it is effective. The proof is that I have never seen, and I even believe that the countries that had signed pre-agreements with one or the other, members of the European Union or others, have not implemented them. So we will not implement it, but I have a lot of respect for all those who want to do it. I disagree. But I think it has nothing to do with European policy.